my back, boy. Please don't think it's sweet, I stay with the heat even though I'm a sad boy. You better watch the way you breathe around me for that breath be your last, boy. I've been drinking red, boy. I've been chopping out these birds, McCoy. No one made my rich in really 9 months. Overseas, honey skin.
これがなければやられていたな。今度は俺の最後の切り札を見せてやろう。左脳だ。
What is that thing? What are those flames? Asked Maki. They don't look like normal ones, said Fushiguro. But why isn't he moving? Questioned Kugisaki. I mean, he's still fighting. He's conscious, right? Nabito then says he just hit multiple black flashes in succession. He's on a crazy high right now. He couldn't explain this if he wanted. And indeed, Yuji is. He doesn't just feel on top of the world, but as if he is above everybody. He perceives the world between dreams and curses, and in this instant, all are frozen before the might of his cursed energy. And then he looks to Dagon with a dead blank stare. The ability Yuji got from his grandfather is pretty unique, and as I mentioned, I made it myself. Though it's not a Matsuratsu because I want to keep this interesting because that's just a one-hit kill at that point. No one can survive that in this universe. But it's just as unique as a Matsuratsu. And this also means that Yuji has awakened the Eternal Mangekyou Sharingan and has awakened the path to become even stronger than anyone thought possible, especially for people of his clan. But I'll show that ability later when his powers actually have settled in. I don't want to just show it off now. That's not how it works. You know, it still has to settle in and he'll reveal it in a funny way. Anyway, Yuji turns and fully faces the curse as he weaves 7 signs in 1 second immaculately. Dagon, noticing this, instead of releasing an attack, backs away from fear, but this of course is a bad choice as the water they stand on heats so quickly that they literally drop because that much has been taken away from under them. What is going on? Asked Maki. And it's so freaking hot. If we're hot, then he must be broiling. As he looked forward, Yuji holds his hand towards the curse, converging what seems like a star in his hands. Dagon is forcefully being burned as he cannot even move from this immense pain being wrought on him, and he watches as this star expands. Fire style, little giant. In a flash, everyone finds themselves in the station again as a heat wave spreads, acting as a mere echo of what Dagon experienced. He exorcised it. He did it! It's finally over. No, not yet, said Yuji. He then turns to see Jogo, who is surprised someone actually kept up with this speed, and instantly upon seeing him, they all can tell that he is leaps and bounds above Dagon. Yuji Uchiha, this will be your grave. As he grinds his teeth, however, from behind he hears a voice. Sorry, that took a while. Instantly, he finds himself atop Shibuya Tower. The wind hits his face, the lights from below, the altitude, everything is just right. This is not some illusion, this is reality. And as Yuji struts his way behind him, Jogo turns to look at him. He is clearly nerve-wracked. What? How did you? Yuji then stops and turns around. He cracks a smile. I'm not the one who usually does things like this. Obviously I fight, but I've always just wanted to do one thing. Keep my friends safe. Unfortunately, Genjutsu can only do so much. Well, it used to. An illusion. How does he do it? I must find the condition. Seeing the agitation on his face, Yuji then raises one hand, waves 6 signs in an instant, and stops on the tiger sign. Don't worry, I plan to pummel you personally. Forming his ribcage, he whips out a bone arm which hits and swats him through 2 buildings before he lands, barely catching himself as he carves through cement. While he tries to catch his breath, he then looks up for Yuji, and when he spots him, he fires a beam at him. However, Yuji just dodges as the beam will then fade before it reaches the clouds. He then lands, not even making a sound, which confuses the senses of Jogo, as it just doesn't make any sense. I can see it all. He body flickers forward and then backhands Jogo with his fist, cracking his jaw as the curse fires a blast that Yuji sidesteps, but he then summons his ribcage and then an arm which catches the attack Jogo had just thrown, and while he holds the curse in place, he will then crush him to the floor using that very same hand and melting him to the concrete using his own attack against him. You! As he forces himself up and swings with a blow to his stomach, it is caught by Yuji, and he's then thrown over Yuji's shoulder and slammed to the ground, cratering into it. His physical strength is insane, and his reaction time especially. Just then, with the wave of his hands, he summons a volcano below the sorcerer, who is entirely enveloped while he himself backs up and takes time to heal. Then he readies before firing his true disaster flames, which are lavender in color, only for the magma volcano to be eradicated. Yuji is revealed with his ribcage protecting him, and his arms then catches the attack again, but the attack is continuous, leaving him in a struggle. This causes the buildings to melt from their foundations and liquefy. No, I can't let him. He sees Yuji then still weaving hand signs, but too late. His Susanoo at that moment grows and expands, obliterating the blast and gaining first an exoskeleton, then the attire of a samurai, and two massive swords at both its sides, and in its head floats Yuji right before the Susanoo then sprouts wings. Maximum technique. Susanoo. Though giant, however, the Susanoo steps forward incredibly fast and nearly stomps Jogo to death, the sheer force of which levels multiple buildings instantly, and this forces the curse to jump about, using the rubble in the air to mask himself, while gathering all his strength for his maximum technique as well. Taste my powers, you bastard! From behind, Jogo creates a massive meteor that he then throws at the Susanoo, who grabs his twin blades and flashes forward. As he would then turn around, the buildings are reduced to rubble and ashes. The meteor is slashed in an X formation and is then blown away, sending the rubble everywhere, crashing like an actual meteor shower. Damn, I only did this because I isolated the area, but at this point, everyone behind me gonna get caught in the crossfire. He then thrusts forward and would extinguish the life of Jogo before he could even fight back as he starts to free fall, and it was over before he could even continue. So this is my end. I have never seen such a thing from an Uchiha. Yuji, despite having just one, senses a menacing presence, and though he stays calm, he acknowledges that it is indeed dangerous. Past him, a radius of cursed energy then flashes, and then his Eternal Mangekyou told him to run towards that source, and he did. The flesh feels so much better on the night of such a festival. As he begins to stand, the King of Curses is back at 15 figures already, his mummified body plunged with evil of curses itself and then stuffed with his essence. He has now become whole again. His own control, though he is missing his multiple arms and some muscle mass, but it matters not. Ryoiki Tenkai. He releases the shrine, and it needed a barrier and expanded for 300 meters at 360 degrees, and as he reaches the source, Yuji instantly releases his domain. Ryoiki Tenkai. Huh? Oh, you already reached that level, huh? Make this interesting, won't you? A massive barrier that seems as Yuji's Susanoo expands and floats in air as inside, Yuji faces the brunt of Sukuna's slashes while the king chuckles safe from his shrine. Is this all you have, boy? The night is bright. Let's make this fun, right? What an interesting domain, though. He increases the power of the attacks and takes this chance to process the domain of his enemy. He looks up and sees a blood-red moon. Her shrine sits in a sea of blood. But then slowly the Susanoo who was blocking then swings with both blades, countering Sukuna's slashes with his own domain's properties, and then he shouts, "Lightning release!" With these words, a flash blinds them as lightning strikes and the scenery of Yuji's domain changes to match a lightning storm. They are in the sky, and in the eye of the storm, Yuji has his Susanoo hold up its hand while gathering all the lightning to one point into a stream, and while doing so, he has a wing block the slashes. Huh? This is strong to kill any insect. Right there and then, Yuji, having gathered what he needed, then throws and pierces through the king's entire shrine, which is then just destroyed and reduced to debris. Yuji wins the domain battle. Both domains disappear, and Yuji exits his Susanoo form as he begins to drop when a cleave attack is then flung at him by the already healed Sukuna. He has insane reverse curse technique. At that moment, he summons only the ribcage and it deflects the blow to a building behind, which is sliced in two. As he lands, Yuji simply looks at this man, and the man does the same. What's your name, boy? I don't give up my name so easily. Getting into a fighting stance, Sukuna then remarks he's quite arrogant. Well, like I said, try and make this fun. Getting ready as well, Yuji attacks first and rushes Sukuna with a multitude of blows. Blows? What the fuck is that? What am I doing, man? I swear. Getting ready as well, Yuji then attacks first and rushes Sukuna with a multitude of blows. The king deflects some, suffers some blows, however, he cannot land anything on the boy no matter what he tries. It's clear in Taijutsu, Yuji has completely outclassed him. The moment he's knocked back with a hit to the face, Sukuna is then grabbed from a Susanoo arm and thrown into a building. And as he crashes through and ends up on the other side, running parallel to the building and leaping after him, Yuji creates two arms that swing down and are met by dismantle attacks. The two struggle until they push one the other way. What is that technique, boy? The Uchiha aren't known for that. I should know. If you met my ancestors, then no. You've definitely never seen this before. It's a secret art. A concept we've been trying to bring to reality for years. The Susanoo. The god who beheaded Yamato no Orochi in mythology. See, I like the inspiration. I don't care what you like. At that moment, Yuji compresses around him the body of his Susanoo, casting himself into a piece of flaming armor. He has now resembled a Tengu samurai and took out his two flaming blades. Fuga. With these words, something inside Sukuna awakens, returning his two extra arms to him, and he has regained muscle mass. He has returned to his original form, as he and Yuji attack one another, but the Cursed King has both his arms severed. Positive energy. Coming to a stop, Yuji swings his katana as Sukuna turns with a grid of cleave attacks, nearing Yuji, who then tanks them and gets pushed back only a bit. I don't know why you're laughing so much, said Yuji. The stomach of Yomen then splits at that moment as he realizes that in split seconds, Yuji must have elongated his blade and retracted it. And because Sukuna, is now made of basically the same thing as curses, because as I've mentioned, he returned by plunging his mummified body with curses, this Susanoo, which is entirely made of positive energy, is now, his natural enemy. But Sukuna also assumes that because this is made entirely of positive energy, he is using a lot of power right now, and he would be right. Yuji's eyes begin to bleed, leaving him quite tired, but he's perpetually healing his eyes while also being hurt by the Susanoo at the same time. Let's stop here for today. No, I'm gonna exorcise you. Now I recognize your face, Roman Sukuna. My clan has scriptures about you. However, just then a pillar of ice then falls, and Yuji darts back when he finds the pillar crumbling and riding out into a wave towards him to swallow him up. However, he then leaps and swings, releasing his wings from his back while dashing forward. He cleaves everything out of his way. It's burning. If I go too far, I might ruin these eyes. This is an experiment after all. A massive trail of ice is then thrown at him as he barely dodges while throwing his blade, which cleaves off the arm of Urahume as she makes her entrance, and he himself is then knocked into a building. Urahume then holds on to her arm, screaming in pain. Sukuna watches the monk hold on, and he says that they should go. I'll trade it back at the cave. And so the monk bears with the pain and would create something for them to ride off on. Yuji Uchiha didn't lose to Sukuna, nor did he win. It was a tie due to the interruption of the monk. But while in the rubble, he was exhausted, and so he gathered all his power into healing his eyes. This became easier the longer he did it because of how many black flashes he released today. He was still growing. But everything comes with a price. He begins to drift, begins to leave the battlefield. I'm not done yet. As he opens his bleeding eyes, he forces himself to stand, denying what would have been his limit. He pushes his way out and jumps from the building until he crashes. I'm on the way. It's been too long, thought Nanami. He, Kugisaki, and Maki are currently facing a little group of transfigured humans. Kugisaki don't take too many hits, Shoko isn't here. But Yuji is, he'll be here. Until then, I'll mow him down. With a swing of her hammer, she strikes a nail into 3 of the transfigured humans and detonates the cursed energy. Yes, last of them. Oh, what a nice reunion. Though all the transfigured humans were now gone, before them stood Mahito. Don't let him touch you, shouts Nanami. Kugisaki then says, so, that's the bastard Yuji was talking about, huh? Hey, just to let you know, Curse, we ain't a good matchup. Are you sure? Moving and touching her in the stomach, his speed shocks them all, as he then grins, but he's then blown back for some reason as his hand is left burning. What? I told you, we're a bad matchup. From behind, Nanami and Maki attack and bisect him in two with a powerful shockwave, sending his parts flying past Kugisaki. How are you okay? Asked Nanami. His soul touched mine and tried to twist it, but my techniques changed. Like I said before, I am the doll. So by trying to directly harm me like that, my soul rejected it, but no damage. It just leaves us both kind of weak. We just need to take advantage of that, said Maki. Not bad. Thanks. Mahito, like usual, is surprised and entertained, but I've gone up another level. I only want to really torment Yuji Uchiha. Where is he? But His friend stays silent, so of course he realizes that he must either beat it out of them or just kill them for fun. He compresses and compresses each of his muscles, giving him much of a skinnier appearance, but it doesn't make him any weaker. And he prepares to attack. Stop. Ugh. Stop, he's mine. As the three make way, towards them begins to walk Yuji, who they notice is massively hurt and bleeding from his eyes still. Yuji, what happened? Does that have to do with that quake cast on me? Oh, you're all tuckered out. Yuji then walks forward, saying nothing else but the same thing. He's mine. He's mine. He's mine. As he opens his eyes wide, Mahito instantly moves, and his speed, now surpassing Mach 5, allows him to pummel Yuji right in the face. The sorcerer buckles with a massive tear spreading through the floor as the three move to help, but Yuji shouts to stop. He weaves another punch from Mahito and slams a black flash into his ribs, and he cracks them, sending him flying as he ricochets around. Yuji's eyes then slowly begin to actually calm, his breathing does as well, and the bleeding stops. He stands straight, cracking his neck as positive energy flows off his body. Sorry, a black flash doesn't feel right unless, well, I actually punched someone I can't stand. I'm better now. That's just like you, doing something this ridiculous. You better come back. As they run off, Mahito blitzes and strikes at Yuji with a wide grin as the boy blocks and slams a kick into his face. No matter how exhausted Yuji is of cursed energy, his physical self has evolved so much so that he doesn't need cursed energy. But he closes in, grabbing the curse by the hair as he breathes in and strikes with multiple black flashes, each more powerful than the last. Mahito, even after counting on the appearance of Sukuna and Yuji's fight against Jogo, he finds that he has no chance. Uchihas are just in a different league. Over 20 black flashes by this point, by the way. Yuji once again enters a state of zone, and Mahito explodes from his stomach, transfigure humans that slam him into a wall, and then cave in the hallway that they're in. Panning up, we see Yuji then jump out from the rubble onto what was left of Shinjuku after his battle with Jogo and Sukuna, and he throws Mahito as he was holding him, and then he just threw him to the floor. Stay away from me. Before he can release another transfigured human, however, he freezes and falls. His head thuds to the floor, his eyes narrow as we enter the world of Tsukuyomi. Panning up, we then see Yuji jump from rubble onto what was left of Shinjuku after his battle with Jogo and Sukuna, and he throws Mahito, who he was holding on to the floor. Stay away! Mahito is now honestly terrified as he tries to release another transfigured human, but then he freezes and falls. His head thuds to the floor, his eyes narrow as we enter the world of Tsukuyomi. Now, this genjutsu is something that stems from Yuji's guilt at all the times he wishes that he had with his family, and his inability to make that happen, of course. So this is much like Itachi's genjutsu. It distorts time and space, making years be only seconds for us in the real world. So there Mahito will be months as every form of torture is tried on him, and it eventually destroys his soul, which for real time for us is actually only 1 minute. And Yuji watches it all happen as he squirms in pain, contorts his own body, trying to fix his own soul. Mahito's corpse is lit ablaze at some point, and he returns to nothingness, fated to be reborn again, and hopefully, this time with a bit more humility. My domain won't be able to contain all Tsukuyomi. Maybe I should do what Sukuna did. Wait, I wonder if I even have to be in there. As this thought ran through his mind, he looked to the ruined area and sighs. That's enough to do for today. As he begins to run and head for the last remaining signature, he of course is trying to kill Kenjaku. Oh, you're here, Aoi Todo. In the middle of nowhere, which is now of course just the ruins of Shibuya, Kenjaku heading out had met the Macho Man himself, and Todo says what we're all thinking. I don't even want to know what your type is. With the clap, he switches places with Kenjaku and ends up grabbing the box. When he's then punched from the side, he closed our distance that quickly. Kenjaku, upon making contact with the prison realm again, releases a swarm of centipedes, and Todo readies himself when from above a masked elephant is dropped, and Megumi makes an entrance. The curses are left crushed as he unsummons his beast, but of course Kenjaku dodged easily. Fushiguro! Don't talk to me, damn it. Kun! His divine totality dog blitzes and strikes at Kenjaku, who weaves and slams his back against his chest, pushing it back but getting clawed in his face, as he will then get a little bit annoyed, but these are just little kicks to him still. Hitting himself instantly, he puts the two on guard as he begins to gather an Uzumaki above himself. You know, it's been a while since I've seen sorcerers so full of life. A massive blast released at that moment as they couldn't even react in time. Uzumaki fades, but then Kenjaku takes notice of a new presence, and as the dust clears, it shows Kusakabe having fended off the attack with this new shadow style. Good. God, I hate this. Today is just the worst at the first grade. Thanks for the distraction. Kenjaku, hearing this, feels something is wrong. He looks down and sees the prison room is gone from his hands. So we finally meet Yuji Uchiha. He sees the boy who says, "I'll kill you." So you should arrest Sukuna. Not bad. No, he ran away with that monk. I'm assuming that was your doing too. So, you tell me, what did you tell to that patch-faced curse? Did you tell him to hurt Junpei? Was that you? What are you talking about, said Fushiguro? Wait, Sukuna? The battle destroyed a lot of Shibuya. Like, a lot. At this point, Panda is then heard running over, and at this point, the other students begin to run over as well. And Momo stays in the air for recon. Honestly, she doesn't want to do anything right now. She's not interfering with this bullshit. First grade my ass, she thought. That first year is just like him. Raising a hand, Yuji then swings across, releasing a blinding wave of frost, which then dissipates to show Kenjaku trapped amongst ice mirrors. He copied this from Uraume just by looking at it. Okay, now I'm actually going to explain what the main clan technique of the Uchiha is in the JJK world. Hold on to your butts. So, they have yin-yang release. So they can create attacks and spells connected to the main element and even bind them together. They're also versed in destruction as well as creation. And the destruction part obviously applies to the curse of hatred bound to them, which only makes them stronger and stronger. And the positive side, you know, the yang, is how they also copy techniques. But the ways that the cursed energy flows for others is not like them, as he is told Kugisaki. The Uchihas don't just copy techniques by seeing it once. They have to observe and understand it to its core, but there's never been someone with an Eternal Mangekyou, so Yuji just copied Uraume and just put a little spin on it. But when they learn things, they apply their own clan techniques to it. They innovate it. As he observes these mirrors, through them all, see duplicates of the boy that fire massive icicles that he is forced to dodge, and he does so before then summoning a Ganesha-looking curse. It seemed to be straight from myth, and in an instant it blows everything away, much to Yuji's surprise, despite not even raising a hand. You're quite tired. I guess it's a lucky day for me. However, Yuji then pops a smile, saying, "Yeah, I know. Wake up to reality, bastard. Even when you run, I'll just come and find you. And when I do, when I have my full power again, you'll just be an ant. How about I kill you right now then?" At that moment, the massive curse he summoned is then blasted through as Kenjaku turns to see Tsukumo, who had just arrived on the scene. Yuki Tsukumo. "Master." "Hey there, Toto. Put a shirt on. Can't rip it off." Typical. "Hey there, Yuji Uchiha, right? Need any help?" "Thanks, you already done enough." As he poofs using a smoke bomb, he disappears, and the barrier over them all shatters in an instant as they realize that this was just a clone. But that clone has somehow teleported because the prison realm is gone with it as well, and they're pretty sure that this is not an ability he has. So much knowledge in that youngster, thought Kenjaku. The world never ceases to amaze me. We then zoom away from him and find Yuji all the way at the very end of the barrier. He sits in a seal drawn with his own blood, and he has been leaking a lot of it, and he's finally exhausted everything he can, and he would then leave everything to his clones. One of them appears right beside him and lands. He summons another one, and they both say to leave the rest to them. With a nod, the real Yuji falls and is caught by his clone. The other then helps hoist him up properly, and they then put the prison room in his pocket. The other clone disappears, and Yuji just has to hope that everything will work out. "We'll figure this out, Gojo Sensei. Just hold on. But not today." As he begins to walk off to look for someone to attend to his true body, the clone soon brings him to a safe place. Yuji regains the memories of the clone later when he wakes up, and he knows what happened that night. Kenjaku escaped, and with it came a new world in Japan. He spread his curses everywhere and only made more curses from the fear that people are developing. Some colonies are kept unaware and continue to live in their otherwise blissful, perfect lives, but as perfect as Japan gets, because it's pretty ass. No offense. And the higher ups of the Japanese government are trying to keep the sanity, but it doesn't bring much change. Now with Satoru Gojo gone, a new pillar rises, and though not willing to deal with everyone's problems, he takes care of everyone he can. Right here, please, just follow me. A clone leads a group of refugees towards a safe area that Jujutsu Tech had established. When they soon reach that area, they enter, hoping for nourishment and a chance to just stop running from these monsters that they now constantly see. It is a new world, a world of curses and nightmares. What is Kenjaku's next move? What's Sukuna's? Find out in the next part of Jujutsu Kaisen. Peace. I'm out.
Those medical pills are push me over. I kill my fill 3 times a day. These ethanol fumes won't make me sober. One flame to take the pain away. I caught you lighting matches in the back room. Haters look mad when they pass you. Let's talk about around when it's past due. Reach a glass, dude, no. You don't gotta fight